What up, YouTube family? It's your man White Wolf, and welcome back to another exciting training session. Today, we're going to be covering mental development, going over the 7 main chakras from the yogi system. Now, before we get started, we have to understand that there are more than 7 chakras. When we talk about energy systems of any kind, they each have their own system layout. They each have their own teachings. They each have their own types of way of understanding them, especially when we switch between prana systems and like qigong systems. Now, the 7 main chakras that we're going to be talking about that we see all over the place and that a lot of people talk about. These 7 chakras are basically the foundational aspects of the human being. These are the energy pathways that allow us to connect to God, to start to understand our purpose, our passions, our intuition. It allows us to understand our heart center, our I am presence. These are the foundational principles that allows us to start unlocking our higher levels of consciousness. And so that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So in this system, there are over 72,000 nadis. These nadis are the energy pathways within the chakra human system, in this particular chakra system. These 72,000 nadis meet into 114 different junction points. 2 of these junction points are outside of the body. 4 of these junction points will activate on their own. So we're trying to connect and open up 108 of these junction points within the human system. The word chakra means spinning wheel. Each one of these chakras are pools of spiraling energy with different aspects, different characteristics, different ways of unlocking a flow between them. Each chakra is already open. Some chakras are just more open than others. You cannot have your chakra too open. That's not a thing. But you can, once you open your chakra, you can reclose your chakra by doing things like sinning. Which, if you haven't looked at the short, our definition of sinning is anything that closes our energy pathways. Starting from the bottom, we have our root chakra. Then we move up to our sacral chakra. Then we move up to our solar plexus chakra. Then we have heart chakra. Throat chakra. Third eye chakra. Then crown chakra. So the first chakra we'll be discussing is the root chakra, located in the perineum, represented by the earth element, identified by security, blocked by fear, opened by faith. The perineum is the space below the genitals and above the anal outlets. The thing about each one of these chakras, though we say identified as, in this case, identified as securities, it's just to help us give us a general understanding of the types of energies that are going to influence this chakra the heaviest. There is no straight one way fits all type of explanation for any of these chakras. It's more understanding how these chakras influence each part of us and keeps us from moving up to the next aspect. For example, if we're always worried about our food, our shelter, our water, then that's what we're going to be focusing on. We're going to be stuck in a place of survival of the fittest, your fight or flight responses. These are going to take precedence because we have to acknowledge that we are in a physical vessel on this plane of reality, and this plane requires us to do certain things to keep this vessel alive, i.e., drink water, eat food, get sleep, have connection, and so on. But when we're stuck in these places due to fear, due to lack mentality, due to all these different characteristics, then we're not able to move up, in this case, to the sacral chakra, where we can start to understand and develop our passions and desires, which is so important, and we'll talk about in a little bit. The root chakra is our foundation. It is that step right before manifestation. One thing that really helps with the root chakra is physical movement, is really getting connected to the physical material, the matter of our body, and it allows us to get grounded, going outside into Mother Nature, getting connected to the matter, the earth element here on this plane. This chakra is just really important for us to start to see how we say security, and this manifests in many different ways. Even when we say greed, because greed is that ideology of lacking, of never having enough and always seeking more and more and more. If we have food, but we don't have the right understanding, and we're always seeking more because we don't feel like we're safe or that we have enough, this is another aspect that we have to watch out for, our understanding and interpretation of things. This is why we went over the Four Noble Truths, the first video. Each one of these chakras is influenced by so many parts of ourselves, our body, our mind, and our emotions. Fear. Fear is the number one thing that will lock us down, especially when we see in today's society that they're propagating fear everywhere. Everywhere is fear. Fear here, fear that war is starting, fear that we're going to go into a recession, fear of blah, 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 blah. That is very purposeful. Right now, most of the people around the planet are only operating out of the lower 3 chakras. And they want us to stay in these lower aspects because these are more the physical characteristics of ourselves, while the upper 4 chakras really represent more of the spiritual characteristics of ourselves. We may be physical, we are having this human body, we are having this vessel, but we are all divine beings. In my opinion, we are all here to co-create something amazing with God. And keeping our energy centers close is preventing us from even getting to these types of realizations or understanding that we are all so much more, that it is so much more to be a human being. To open up this chakra, we really need to focus on faith. Faith in our own characteristics, in our own skills and abilities, to see us through, to help us overcome challenges. Faith that the universe, the world has our back, that we can do this, we're not alone. For real, that we're really not alone. And this is why the teachings of the ascended masters like Yeshua, or aka Jesus, showed us through their lives and their books and their stories how important it is to spread love, to do these things in a certain type of way, to trust in the world, to trust in God. Nowadays, I think a very important aspect to acknowledge is that killing is so bad for us because we're talking about the law of karma, of cause and effect, of reaping what we sow. Right now we're in a place where violence is spreading, and you see people are pretty prepared to kill anybody who crosses a certain boundary. If somebody steps on your property, then a lot of people are like, oh, they're done for. And that's not to say first of all, I totally agree, protect yourself. But there are many methods of protecting yourself. Killing is killing will create karma of such a level that when we see bad things happen to good people, there's certain aspects and rules that we are not always taking into account. Karma does not just follow us this one lifetime. It follows us through many lifetimes. We all choose the families we're going into. And a lot of times, that karma from past lifetimes manifests in the way of our upbringing, the types of different challenges and traumas that we induce in our lives. Maybe not because of the decisions we made as a child, but because of the decisions we made in a past life manifesting in this life that we have to pay off. It is extremely important that we start moving away from certain type of ideologies that will keep us stuck in these lower chakras. Right now, specifically talking about the root chakra, being in that place of survival all the time. Look, our parents and our ancestors, they went through so much. We all have been through so much. But life at that time for them was at a completely different level. A lot of them, there were so many different generational curses that have been passed down from line to line. We've had to go through many different wars as a collective species in order to finally get to a point where we can say, hey, we do not want this. We do not want to keep going through this continuous cycle. We do not want to bring this negative darkness, because this is what's causing all of this dark energy, all of the most horrific actions is continuing and propagating certain ideologies of violence, of hatred. And now it's time that we start to ascend our energy and start to raise our consciousness to look past this physical expression. This is why all these ascended masters are so important in their teachings. Yeshua, how he protected and saved so many individuals. The Buddha, specifically my favorite story of the Buddha and the murderer. This murderer literally killed many villagers. And as the Buddha is strolling through town, he gets wind of this. He hears the story. He goes off to see the murderer. And then as he interacts with the murderer, from his sheer beautifulness of love and compassion, he flips this man around internally. And he shows him the error of his ways. And then the man goes back and repents for his actions, and he almost dies. He almost gets stoned to death by the villagers. Their anger, their hatred, all the things that he's done to them. They're pissed. And he's ready to accept the consequences. He has a level of acceptance. And before they kill him, the Buddha steps in and he shows them that this man is no longer the same individual. He is a transformed man. He is resurrected. And that man became one of the Buddha's greatest disciples, spreading so much love and light across the world at that time, that if we would just treat him like we treat people nowadays, how we look at each other, this man would not have existed. That man would just stayed a villain, being persecuted and eventually killed. It's starting to really look past aspects of ourselves and starting to understand how we work, understand how the universe works, because all of this is intertwined. That's why we really talked about the Hermetic philosophy, the Four Noble Truths, because all these things are connected amongst each other. so that we can get to this point now of understanding our energy on a deeper level without causing ourselves more blockages. To overcome and to start opening up this particular chakra, the root chakra, we need faith. Faith in our own characteristics and abilities. That's why it's so important that as a society, we really work together to create a system that grows our youth in a way that encourages them, that shows them that they can count on themselves, that shows them that there's so much more and not little robots that are corporate slaves. And for more questions about how to specifically open up this chakra, go check out Overcoming Fear in the Emotional Development section of the playlist. We'll talk about how to really open up each chakra through not just explanation, but through life experience. Because it really takes looking at these things in a deeper type of method. So, that's the root chakra. Now let us talk about the sacral chakra. The sacral chakra, located above the genitals, represented by the water element, identified by passion or desire, blocked by guilt, opened by self-love. The first thing we have to understand about this particular chakra is that sexual energy and creative energy are the same type of energy. This chakra is the powerhouse of our creative energy. The water element really represents our emotional aspects of ourselves. Right now, we see that we're in a society that is hyper sexualized. This is very intentional. Wasting your seed through masturbation, wasting your seed through many short-term sexual partners is very detrimental to us as an individual for many reasons. First of all, it takes away from your creative potential. It makes you so you can't tap in to that aspect of yourself to express. Secondly, when we start talking about higher levels of spiritual practice and reaching higher levels like raising the sacred Christ oil, it is very important that we have maintained our seed for a certain period of time, which we're not going to get into right now. The sacral chakra houses our passions and our desires. This is when we finally overcome the need of feeling like we don't have enough. We are finally secure. We're secure in our food, our water. We're secured in ourselves. We have that security covered. And now we can start to focus on the aspects that bring us to life, that bring us joy and happiness, that allow us to express our emotions on a very much more deeper level. When we talk about desires and passions, if you have listened to a Bashar channeling, then you will already understand how important it is to follow your passion, your highest passion, whatever that may be, and follow it till the point where it's done, and then move on to your next passion, your highest excitement. This aspect of ourself literally is a guidance system for us to start to understand what it is that we are here to contribute to the world. It is so important, especially for our children, that we start allowing them to tinker around in so many different fields. For me, when I was a child, I loved band class. I did 7 years of band. I was in marching band, concert band, jazz band. I loved band. And it really helped connect me to music which is a passion of mine that I stopped following once I left school for quite some time. And now, after opening up my channels to a degree and now following my passion, following my purpose, doing what I feel I am called to do, feeling like I'm walking my mission. I see it has just come back. The spirit of music is so important in my life now. The sacral chakra is like a guidance system for us. It is so artistic. The emotions allowing us to express them. Once again, for me, this is why I also love the Shaolin arts. That's why they're called the Shaolin arts. Because the way that you start to use your body to express something inside of you, that is amazing. It is passion. There's so many different forms of art out here. Blacksmithing, woodworking, regular art, painting, music, geography. Literally anything starts to become an art once you start to dive deeper into it. Everything is so much more intrinsic, and it's starting to find that piece of something that catches your eye, and that just makes you be like, whoa. And makes you want to go in deeper and deeper and deeper. And then as you work it and as you mess with it and you transmute it and you learn all about it, what you start to create from it is something that is amazing and beautiful. This chakra is beauty. It's about expressing beauty. It's about expressing your emotions. It's about finding that which allows you to have that expression. What blocks this chakra is guilt. When we do something that we feel guilty about, this will lock us up quicker than anything, because then we start to feel not worthy. We start to feel like we don't matter. This is where we have to be careful. We start doing things, start doing crimes, start doing things that close up our pathways, and we start feeling guilty about it. Or if we're around people who start making us feel guilty all the time. Guilt is what locks up our personal power. It locks up our creative expression. And in order to overcome guilt, we have to go towards self-love. The type of self-love that pushes us towards making those better decisions, that invest in the long term, our long-term dreams, our long-term goals, that invest in us becoming a better version of ourselves each and every day. And so, if you have more questions about that, go ahead to the emotional development section and check out Overcoming Guilt. Because self-love is so powerful. And if we don't love ourselves, if we don't see the value in ourselves, no will. And each and every one of us has so much value. We all are worthy. We are born here. We have been given this life for a reason. God put you here for a reason. God knows you're worthy. You just gotta recognize it yourself so you can start to express that beautiful passion inside of you. Alright, moving on to the solar plexus chakra. The solar plexus chakra, located in the solar plexus, represented by the fire element, identified by will or ego, blocked by shame, opened by forgiveness. This is where we start to really take action. Action speaks louder than words. Action is a confirmation to the universe that we finally made up our mind, that we finally have clarity that we are going into a particular direction. And that fire that burns like the heat of 1,000 suns, that gives us the strength to overcome anything. that pushes us forward into a force of unstoppable flame. The fire element is what gives us the heat needed to become unbreakable, is what strengthens our will, our determination, our grit. The solar plexus chakra is greatly connected to our gut health, our stomach health. And in today's society, which we see them propagating a lot, is unhealthy living styles. We have literally fast food restaurants on every corner, and at the same time, we are poisoning the food in our grocery stores. It is filled with processed foods that are weakening us. And this is all intentional. They need a greasy, oily food because this is what extinguishes the fire. And when our fire is extinguished, we are weak. We are a pushover. We have no ground to stand on. We have no direction. We're a drifter. If you don't know what a drifter is, go ahead and listen to Napoleon Hill's Outwitting the Devil. They want us to be drifters without direction, without purpose. The thing is, this chakra is that step where we are taking action, where we have become secure in ourselves. We've found our passions, our goals, our desires. And now we're taking action towards those goals and desires. And if you don't think somebody's going to try to stop you, think again. The thing is, what's a story without a bad guy? What's a story without challenges? It's a boring story. And we're not here to write a boring story. You got solar plexus chakra with the flame of 1,000 suns that's meant to push you past any challenge. That's meant to get you hot and fiery and be able to go take that action towards those dreams that are going to be hard. They're going to be a road of ups and downs. They're going to tell a story that is going to inspire the hearts of the people, of the masses, and to show the universe the magicness of what it means to be a human being. The solar plexus chakra, it houses our ego. The ego is the third dimensional character that we believe that we are. Whatever name given to you at birth, it's whoever you think that person is. The thing is, once we are stuck in this position, stuck in this ego, we start creating identities. We start thinking we're only an American. But the thing is, we're much more than that. We're not just an American. We're not just German. We're not just Italian. We're not just black. We're not just white. We are a human being, each and every one of us. And that means that we are a divine being that is more than this one lifetime. We are so much more, each and every one of us. And it's to really start to move past this identity state into that we are more, that we are not limited, that we are not merely human beings, but we are human beings, freaking super amazing divine creatures that are co-creating with God, that are here to do freaking awesome things with that fire. This chakra is blocked by shame. Shame is like the remnants of the past. We've all done things that we've been guilty of. That guilt blocks our solar plexus. It blocks our sacral. And as we discover self-love, and we stop doing the things that cause us to be guilty. Shame is like the remnants of the past, it's like the humiliation. Now that we have finally stopped the actions that brought us that guilt, it's time to forgive ourselves. It's time to let it go. It's time to move past. It's time to forgive those who hurt us. It's time to look at the situation from a higher perspective and to start to see that it was meant to help shape your character, that it was there for a reason. So we have to forgive. We have to forgive the individuals, everybody involved. We have to forgive ourselves. That shame is like two super heavy sandbags that you carry with you. That regret is just like crushing you more and more every day. That anger crushing you. And when we start to forgive, it's like starting to drop the grains of sand from them sandbags, allowing them to get lighter and lighter and lighter. And before you know it, your shoulders start feeling real freaking good. You start moving a little bit easier with a little spring in your step. You're not weighted down anymore. Forgiveness is powerful and continuous. You do not just forgive one time. You go and forgive many times. Many, many, many times. Sometimes it turns into a daily occurrence, and that's okay. Because it's good. It's the practice. You're developing a particular type of skill, and then it just becomes second nature. And then you recognize that instant when you just need to forgive right off the top of your head. And then without even starting to develop those feelings of anguish and shame and anger and resentment, it just turns straight into forgiveness and you let it go. And now you're not even carrying sandbags anymore, but you have the right tools in order to release any type of negative experience that might start to fluctuate or bring you that shame, bring you that anger, that resentment. The solar plexus chakra is a powerhouse. It is that burning of 1,000 suns that gives you the strength to do anything. It is action. So moving on, let us talk about the heart chakra. The heart chakra, located in the heart, represented by the air element, identified by love, blocked by grief, opened by compassion. The heart chakra is the powerhouse of the entire human system. The heart is where the soul is. This is where we start to reach our I am presence. Everything in this universe, when we say that love is the strongest force in this universe, that is not necessarily correct. Love is the strongest force of the universe, but love is itself the force of the universe. Everything is a derivative of love at a different spectrum or a different vibration on this pole of polarity. As we already know from our Hermetic series, we're currently experiencing this concept of duality. Well, everything having that equal and opposite pole. Love itself is the pole. Everything that we see is God. God being that of love. Us being inside of love. Us being love. Love being all there is. And everything being a vibration of love at a different frequency. The heart chakra. This is where we start to really put in the engine, the power, the force of anything. This is where our lower chakras and our upper chakras collide. This is where all of the transmutation, all of the work is being done. The heart chakra is so powerful. This is where we start finding our moral compass. We start recognizing that God is inside of us. When we talk about grief, grief is a very powerful blocker. It's not necessarily death, but it definitely has that type of connotation, that deep type of, that deep hurt, that deep pain. When we lose someone we love, or we go through an extremely painful experience of some kind, and we want to close ourselves off to the world, and we find it hard to get back up, to keep fighting, when we start to enter depression, deep rest, how we overcome this hurt and pain is through compassion and time. Healing the heart chakra. This is where we start to find that connection back to unity. We start to realize that we're all one, that we treat others the way that we want to be treated, that we start to go further and recognize what the Ascended Masters were trying to teach us, how powerful love is, that love is all there is, that through love, we really start to heal, to take care of each other. We start opening up the portals that are on this plane of reality to experiences that are so much more than what we are seeing at this moment, that we're able to interpret at this moment. The heart chakra is the powerhouse of the human system. Our breath is deeply connected to the heart chakra. In fact, so when we start talking about reaching some of our higher levels of human capabilities, this is why a lot of times breath work, breathing techniques, they are a very foundational key to unlocking a lot more power within ourselves. And so we're going to leave it there on the heart chakra. Moving on to the throat chakra. The throat chakra, located in the throat, represented by the element of ether, identified by communication, blocked by lies, opened by truth. The throat chakra is an amplifier. This is how we start to really get our complete ideas and thoughts out to each other, to express towards each other. Communication is not only verbal, it's in our mannerisms, it's in our actions, it's in the way that we express our words. When we lie, we are taking away the power in our communication. When we start telling lies, people stop believing us. People start to see that we don't have the type of values that support our thoughts or intentions. But when we start telling the truth, no matter how hard it is, and we start to developing good communication skills, then we're able to amplify the thoughts, the process of manifestation. Whatever we're trying to manifest, we are amplifying and giving it energy through the throat chakra. Things like passive aggressive communication is one way that we block our throat chakra, that we start to weaken the power in the throat chakra. Aggressive communication is another way. Manipulation is another way. All these techniques and tactics that are indirect, that are shadows of lies, weaken the power, the amplifying abilities of the throat chakra. The throat chakra, the truth will set you free, always. The truth might hurt the first time you say it, but a lie will hurt every time you think of it. And that pain is blocking your energy. Moving on, the third eye chakra. The third eye chakra, located in between the eyebrows, represented by light, identified by visions, blocked by illusions, opened by intuition. The third eye chakra is very powerful. This is when we start to really tap into our sixth sense, opening up a whole new level of skills and abilities within us. Skills and abilities that a lot of people just don't think are really true nowadays. Right now, especially in today's time period, because of where we're at technology wise, there are so many different illusions going on. Illusions in marketing heavily, where now you see a commercial about eating unhealthy M&Ms and they try to put meditation in there. These are illusions that both deteriorate our concept of the power of meditation and at the same time try to promote this unhealthy poison into this concept of healthiness. The illusions of our current political system, where we say, or they say, that they care about people, but then everything that is being done is not very caring. The illusions of the different grocery stores, which are all controlled by a very few number of individuals. The illusion of separateness. The illusion that we have to compete against each other. There are a number of illusions that we see in today's society. The power of the third eye is one that allows us to bring light to the illusions. It clarifies our inner knowing, our inner being. We are all divine beings, and we all have special gifts. We all have special talents, and we all know certain things. Once we start opening up our energy, and we've gone through the process of trusting ourselves, of forgiving ourselves, of working on ourselves, of healing ourselves, of opening up to love and the power of being truthful, we start to be able to tap into our intuition very heavily, a certain type of knowing. This is where we're starting to recognize that what we have around us in our society is human law. But what we are living in and what it means to be a human and a divine being is following God's law. It's starting to recognize how much more powerful we really are and recognizing that power in yourself and starting to have the discernment and the ability to start to follow that calling from God, your inner knowing, to be able to make the decisions that you know you need to make. This chakra is liberating. It is illuminating the light, the path for us, so that way we can walk free from the burdens of all these pressures that society tries to put on us. It gives us liberation to walk in our own inner power. And I'm going to leave it there for this one. Moving on to the crown chakra. The crown chakra, located about 2 inches above the head, represented by consciousness, identified as bliss, blocked by attachment, opened by releasing or letting go. This chakra is when we start to really feel and know that we're making a connection to God, to our higher selves, to our angel teams, to our spirit teams, to our ancestors. We're starting to connect to the other side. This is where we start to really get our mind blown. The power that we have when we start to work together with our spiritual family is incredible. The power of prayer when we start to really dive into it. The power that we have with God to see us through. It is so next level. And these are experiences that we really have to experience. You can hear people talk about it. You hear people talk about all this stuff, about prayer, Akashic records, about astral projection, about talking to me with their spirit team, working together. But unless you experience it, you don't really understand the full impact of what it is like or how it feels. It is such a crazy connection that we start to build that is so wonderful. And all of us have this connection. God wants a deep connection with each and every one of us. Your spirit teams want a deep connection with each and every one of us. This chakra is when we really know that we're not alone. This chakra is blocked by attachment. There are many different attachments, but one word that really helps is acceptance. Accepting the things that we cannot control, and then learning to let them go. Letting go is a very strong practice. It's like being in the ocean and just relaxing and knowing that God has you and trusting that whatever is to happen was meant to happen. This chakra is powerful. When we talk about the law of mentalism, everything that has ever been created first originated as an idea. The divine, your spirit team, they talk to you through your thoughts, through the images, through the ideas you receive. There is so many different expressions they give you through the mental processes that a lot of people think is not real, especially a lot of dream interpretations. But that's why you had your third eye open. You opened your third eye because you recognize now, because you have the knowing to see when you have a certain message delivered to you from your higher forces, that it is not merely some random dream. It is not merely some random thought. It is something so much more that came from a different place. This chakra is when things start to get wild and awesome. Letting go, releasing, is a continuous practice. And it takes working through everything else, learning to get out of that fear state, learn to practice the self love, the forgiveness, to love yourself, to love the world, to love your brothers and sisters, to speak the truth, to develop your knowing, and then get into that place of now you're tuned to a certain degree of seeing certain types of attachments that you're hanging onto. And it's learning how to release these attachments. But it's recognizing first what are the attachments. You have to recognize it first. And it's not always clear, especially if there's other aspects of ourselves that's mucked up, that's closed off. That's why everything kind of comes in steps. And then when we start talking about the manifestation process, just as we open our energy starting from the ground up, now the manifestation process is starting from the top down. We're receiving the ideas from God. We're bringing it into our knowing, into our thought processes. We're amplifying it by giving it truth, by speaking it into life. We're empowering it with our heart. We're going through all the mechanisms to give it real strength, to really give it foundation. And then we're taking action. Then we're adding our passion into it and getting our creativity, our expression, and turn it into something that's beautiful. And then we bring it down into real physical material, real physical matter. We'll go more into letting go, into in our emotional development talk later on, because each one of these goes so much deeper that they need their own types of explanation for us to really understand what does it mean to do XYZ, to let go, to work on our intuition, to develop our compassion. And it's not always easy. In fact, a lot of times it's not easy. But that's the beauty of it, because as you start to work it, it gets easier and it gets more fun. And you start developing more tools. And then you're ready to whip out so many different training sessions. You're ready to see how you've grown so far. And now you're at a place where you know where you're going. You know that God is guiding you. You know you have the capabilities to make it. And now you're playing the movie and watching it play out. Just as we work so hard to open up our chakras, it is very easy to also close them back off. The thing is, as you keep leveling your souls up and you keep opening yourself up, you will be tested by the universe. You already have tests that you have to face on a daily basis. The way that we interact with each other is extremely important. The way we talk, the way we conduct ourselves. When we're putting negative energy into this universe, into the world, at each other, spreading hatred, spreading anger, spreading envy, spreading jealousy, these are all things that are closing off our energetic pathways. The same thing as when we don't stand in our boundaries and we allow people into our energy space that make us feel guilty, that bring us shame, that make us angry. We have to start to really control what we're allowing into our environment. This is why, as you keep leveling up and you're starting to open up your pathways, you're becoming more sensitive to what's around you, to what's holding you back, the foods, the peoples, the areas, the activities. And as you start to cut them away little by little, you go through these tests. Sometimes they're very heavy tests. Sometimes you gotta let people go that you really love and care about. You can always love people. But individuals who will make you feel guilty, who will make you feel shameful, who will make you angry, who judge you, who come after you. I talked a little bit about different ways that how we conquer our enemies, the 4 ways of conquering our enemies. in the Warriors of Light podcast. The same thing applies when we have people around us who are vibrating at a lower energy, who are not at a place where they're able to accept the same amount of love. The thing about this whole process is that we're just channeling more love. It's all about channeling more love. And as you channel more love, you literally, because you are always transmuting and taking in information. The information you start putting out will start disrupting the demons inside of people. And by demons, I don't mean like possession. What I mean is that everybody's at a certain place. Hurt people hurt people. When you're hurt and you see somebody who's vibrating at a higher state, we got energy vampires. We got people who cannot literally take that type of energy because you're starting to become a completely different vibrational match. You don't attract each other. You're starting to conflict with one another. And that's why we have all these techniques of boundaries, learning how to really open up our pathways. That way, the externalness doesn't influence us. It's all about the internal, learning how to shift our internal mechanisms is what shifts the external. As within, so is out. It is extremely important that you just start to understand as you take this journey, because it's a journey, it takes time, it is a process, you will be tested. But as you feel the accomplishment of opening yourself up little by little, as you start to feel your sensitivity grow, you start to realize all the things that were holding you back, all the things that were bringing you down, that were influencing you. It gets hard sometimes. It requires sacrifice. But that's the price we start to pay in order to bring our dreams and our desires and whatever we're meant to co-create. We have to pay a price. Everybody does. And in my opinion, the best price to pay is blood, sweat, and tears. Because through that hard work, through that self-development, through that path of understanding yourself, communicating with the universe, doing what you feel called to do, it's amazing what you start to become. It's amazing what you realize you can do in this life, how many people you can help, how good you feel on a daily basis. You start to feel so amazing because now you've gotten rid of all that negativity, and now you're starting to really heal yourself, your body, your mind, your emotions. You're feeling younger, you're looking younger, you're feeling your spirit be purified. And it is an amazing feeling that you can hear people talk about, but there is no way to express the amount of clarity and peace you start to feel and you obtain. The big thing is you are going to face people who are going to want to bring you down. And I mean this in the best intentions, because a lot of times people just don't even mean to do it. A lot of times it's just so habitual because of how society is. We have so many certain types of habits that we've developed in our culture. And as you start to become sensitive and realizing the flaws in these types of ideologies, you start to see how people start to attack you in different types of ways. The demons inside of people start to come out because you start to disturb individuals. At the same time, you're becoming a beacon of hope, and you're showing other individuals, and they're feeling your energy. They're literally feeling that exuberantness of love coming from you. Some individuals are going to appreciate that so much. It gives some people so much hope. It brings hope to the world. It is leading by example. But by leading by example, you're going to have people come after you. You'll have the demons inside people get disrupted and start coming out. And so that's why it's so important we start to develop other practices about how we keep ourselves calm under pressure, how we don't return negative energy, but we send out love. That's why the teachings of the Ascended Masters are so important. Because once you start this path, as the Shaolin teachings say, there are only 2 mistakes on the road to self-mastery. Not starting and not going all the way. This is about finding your true potential. This is about finding your mission, living your mission, bringing your dreams to life. So believe in yourself and don't let anybody, any substance, any situation stop you. And so, I'm going to end it there, YouTube family. Thank you everybody for making it to the very end of our mental training session for today. If you have time, go ahead over to the Stand store, type in White Wolf 719. There you'll get yourself a free Warriors of Light leveling guide packet. Now this packet is going to help you get from level 1 to level 2 to level 3. This packet is designed to help guide you to the point of opening up your chakras. And now, as we just discussed, you'll be ready for whatever beautiful mission that is meant for you. So, go ahead, hit the subscribe button. Check out the Warriors of Light podcast to get some real in-depth type of messages, some very important messages. To get some very important stories that will help you along your journey. And everybody, have a beautiful, blessed, and wonderful day. Trust that you're exactly where you're meant to be. Know that God is with you and that you are doing a great job. And until next time, fam, love and light leads the way. Peace.